Welcome back. I am Felix, and this is the No Fun Channel podcast. It's the end of the year. Technically, I already made my end of the year podcast. I didn't think about it when I made it because I made it the following week to post this past Sunday. This one will post this coming Sunday, but I'm going to count this one as the last one of the year since I'm making it on 12/31. Start off Happy New Year. And, if you're watching this on the New Year, Happy New Year on the New Year. Yeah, as for my podcast, originally my plan was to stop posting every Sunday, but I think I'm going back to that. Ever since I stopped doing the other stuff where I was doing the sci-fi stuff, ever since I stopped doing that, it's like I took a stress off of me. I think I was putting too much energy into that. With this stuff, I'm just trying to have fun. I don't want it to feel like a job because I'm not getting paid to do this. So I started posting Reddit stories, which I might start posting more because those are really easy to do. All I'm doing is I'm going to find the Reddit stories on YouTube. It's not necessarily the Am I the A-hole stories, but Reddit stories I might find interesting and share and talk about. One of the things I want to do is find some writing prompts on Reddit and go over the story. I don't want too long of a story, at most maybe a half hour, but I want to talk about the story as it's going on, give my points of view and stuff like that. I found a couple stories I'm going to talk about. They're short. I think one is like 17 minutes. And another thing is I have a TikTok account that I'm not using. I have two TikTok, what I use and what I don't. And I thought I originally was going to start posting like the full story on there of Reddit stuff. Like, you know how they do part 1, part 2, part 3. I was going to download all the parts, make sure it's a complete story, and post it. So I think I'm going to start doing that. I got 2 downloaded that I'm going to do. So, actually, I think I got a third one I need to transfer over to my computer and piece it together. And so I got 3 I can upload here. So I'm going to probably do that tonight or tomorrow, sometime this week. And now that is not going to be like a regular thing. It's just when I find part 1, 2, and 3 or complete stories where they've broken it up and I'll put it back together and post it. So people don't have to go hunting. I might even change the name of that TikTok to The Complete Story, No More Hunting. But yeah, that's what's going on so far. I got back into working out this week. I went Monday and today. Both days Monday I did do my complete leg workout, but I didn't do my cardio. Today I didn't get to do my complete upper body because I didn't get to do the bench press. Oh my God, the bench press. When I got there, there's only 3 bench press. All 3 were in use. So I just said, I'll do my other workout. And on the butterfly, I set to a heavier weight. I actually start off with 200. I usually don't start off with 200. I usually do 100. And I was able to do 200, but it hurt. But I felt it. And so I did that and just did all the machines for the upper body. By the time I got halfway through, probably more than a half hour had gone by. Only one machine hadn't been swapped out yet. The guy just was sitting there on his phone. And when the guy got on the bench press next to him, he shot him daggers like he wanted to beat him up. I wanted to become that guy in the gym and just walk over to him, get the hell off the machine. But it's a public gym. It's not my gym. I don't own it, so I can't do that. But yeah, I really did want to walk over to that guy and like, get the hell off. But he just sat there on it, on his phone. Then at one point he started working out and he grabbed a weight and was doing like ab workout on the machine, right there at the bench press. And I'm just like, you son of a bitch. There's so many other places you could be doing that right now. And you're picking right there to do that. It's like, so I moved on. Probably after the podcast here, I'm going to go downstairs and break out my machine. So I can at least work on my chest. I didn't do shoulder tomorrow. Well, no. I'm going to the gym tomorrow. I'm not going to stay as long. I'm just going to go do the bench press. Get that in. Then I'm going to do shoulder shrugs. I skipped the free weights today just because by the time I got done doing my arms, I was burnt. So the only thing I need to do is bench press, shoulder shrugs, and forearms. Then I'm going to do the treadmill for 6 minutes. And then I wanted to start doing the bike too. So I might try and do the bike. So see if I can at least do 6 minutes. So that'll be my workout on Wednesdays. Then Thursday, legs, Friday, upper body. So that'll be my routine. So 2 days a week, legs, 2 days a week, upper body, and then Wednesday, bench. I want to do bench press 3 days a week. Hit my chest as hard as I can, because my chest is in horrible shape. But yeah, I finally got back into it, working out. I wanted to go ahead and start before the new year, because I didn't want people thinking this was my New Year's resolution. Because I was already working out this year. My biggest hang-up is still my diet. I guess for the new year, it's definitely get my diet under control, and hopefully be in shape by March is my biggest goal. But yeah, my goal was actually go back to doing full body workout, but Monday I couldn't do it. I have no cardio. I have no stamina. So I got to keep it broken up for right now. Maybe one day I'll get back there. Also, some sad news. Jimmy Carter passed away at 100. I thought he already passed away, actually, to be honest with you. After the election, I thought he had already passed away. People were joking, that's one way to get out of the inauguration. Because I don't know if they actually thought he was going to show up for that, but yeah, people were talking about that's how you get out of it. I don't think he would have shown up. Even if he was in perfect health, I don't think he would have shown up. Just because he was not a fan of Trump's. So I don't think he would have shown up. And people were mad at Michelle Obama for saying happy holidays. It's like, she could have said Merry Christmas and you would have been mad at her. So get over yourselves with this crap, this fake outrage. It didn't matter what she said. You were going to find a reason to hate her. So just cut it out. Also in the news, I saw where a delivery driver stabbed someone over a $2 tip. But from what I understand in the story, originally it was going to be more than $2 because they didn't tip on the thing and they were going to tip in person. The delivery driver pretty much lost their crap, and so it's like, here's a $2 tip now. So the delivery driver leaves, comes back with somebody, and stabs the person. And it's like, you did all that for $2, now you're going to jail. I don't think the person died, but still, it was so stupid. You shouldn't be a delivery driver if you're going to stab people because you didn't get a good tip. People, man, it's just crazy out there. And the MAGA, they're having a civil war. They're going at each other's throats. It's Elon Musk and his team versus everyone else. And they are literally telling Elon Musk to go back to Africa. This black girl or black woman on TikTok actually said, when y'all going to tell Elon to go back to Africa? She goes, well, that didn't take long. She stitched her own video talking about, well, that didn't take long. And it's like, yeah, they're telling him to go back to Africa, which I think is hilarious. And they're pointing out how he's a foreigner, how he's doing this and that. It's just like, what did you think was going to happen? And he's a billionaire who's greedy, who thinks plunging the country into debt will solve problems. He's not a genius. He was a kid who had money and bought things and put his name on it like he invented it. He didn't invent Tesla. He didn't invent PayPal. He didn't invent X. He didn't invent SpaceX. And what's his obsession with X? But he didn't invent any of that stuff. He bought it. And most of it he's destroyed. He's found ways to destroy it. Even Tesla's suffering now because of his leadership. So, yeah, he's not a genius. I won't lie. When he first came out, the way the media portrayed him, I was like, oh, so he's like Tony Stark. Then the more I learned about him, I was like, oh, no, he's like he's like a spoiled brat who just has way too much money. That's what he's really like. And so, yeah, he's just destroying companies he touched, which is sad for these companies. So, yeah, maybe he should go back to Africa. But what was the other thing? This OnlyFans model. The first time I heard about this OnlyFans was on Abba and Preach. She went from the world record of hooking up with her fans, and yeah, She did it at an Airbnb, and now that Airbnb is not happy. And I think they're suing her, which I don't blame them. I was definitely sue. Like, you did what in our Airbnb? Because I don't think legally you can do that stuff in an Airbnb. And legally, I don't think you can do it in a residential area some places. So she could be facing some serious issues. She could end up with some legal charges against her. Certainly if it wasn't cleared. So, yeah, just because you think you're in the confines of your home doesn't mean you can do certain things. Because technically, that could be seen as filming without a permit. And also, if money is involved, it could be running a business from home. And not everywhere, you can't just do that anywhere. A lot of people think you can just run a business from your home, and technically you can't. Some states have very strict rules and guidelines when it comes to a business from home. Even if it's just by mail from home, there's rules and guidelines. Some states don't enforce it, though. If a state does enforce it, usually it's they're being petty. Someone's done something, and now you pissed off the wrong person, and they're being petty. It's like when you see kids get in trouble for a lemonade stand. Someone was petty, and that's why they got in trouble. But overall, yeah, if I was at Airbnb, I'd be like, I'm suing your ass. But yeah, it is what it is. And living in West Virginia, there's a coach named Coach Rodriguez who left us high and dry a long time ago, and apparently we just rehired him. But in all honesty, I mean, he was a good coach when he was here. It's just the way he split. It was like in bad taste. And he went downhill after that. It's like he was cursed. He screwed us over, and he got cursed, and now he's back. Because the one college he went to, there was a jersey that had a scholarship tied to it, and he just handed a jersey to anyone, and it wasn't supposed to be like that. And he got in trouble for that. He got let go from a lot of places. He tried to do correspondence stuff. Was it not correspondent? Yeah, correspondent. He was a sports announcer, and that didn't work out. So now he's back here at WVU because WVU is desperate for a football coach. So I don't know. We'll see how it works out for him. But another thing that caught me off guard in the news was Travis Barker's daughter. She's 18, 19 years old. I just popped up on my thing about her. Guess she's in the hospital after a nicotine withdrawal. Man, how much nicotine? Oh, she was vaping. Yeah, she was doing that. You're taking more nicotine when you vape. It's not safe. And I'm sorry, but it sounded like the parents failed her. Because I remember hearing stories about her when she was like 16, doing stuff that she really shouldn't have been doing online. And now she's just out there showing her stuff. And it's like, I was lucky. My kids didn't fall into that trap. And they're just being kids. I raised my kids to be kids. And unfortunately, a lot of these people are not raising their kids to be kids. They're raising them to be mini adults. And that's not necessarily a bad thing depending on how you're doing it. But I still want my kids to be kids. I want them to have a childhood. I want them to look back and think about all the fun they had as a child. And childhoods only come around once. So I want them to be kids for as long as they can. Even now, like my daughter's about to be 18, I tell her, you don't have to stop being a kid. You just got to start doing adult things. And the truth is my kids can stay home as long as they want. The only thing is, don't bring people home. Don't be bringing people home thinking you're going to hook up with them in the house. It ain't happening. The worst case scenario, maybe we'll fix up the basement and one of them can move down there and make the other apartment. There's no out though. That's the only problem. We have to put a door in or something. Because I don't want them getting trapped down there or going to fire if something happens. But, yeah. Definitely I would say, yeah, don't, no. And it's not just Travis Barker's daughter. It's everyday people raising their kids like that. And it's mainly daughters I've seen people raising them like, oh, we'll show you, get you out to showing your stuff and make some money. It's like, how about you just let them be kids? But also, cops are in the news. Cops beat a guy to death who was handcuffed and filmed it. And probably no charges will be filed. And then another cop body slammed an old guy to the ground and all charges got dismissed. He was being charged and then Someone above him dismissed the charges. Someone above the prosecutor dismissed the charges. It's like, why? He did it. It's on camera. The guy literally was just, because if you watch the body camera, the old guy turns his head to point to something. Next thing you know, the cop's body slamming him for no reason. The cop just grabbed him and body slammed him. It's like the old man just turned his head. Next thing you know, he's on the ground. Hope that family sues. And I'll be honest with you. If that was my grandfather or father and I saw that footage, I would make that cop's life a living hell. I would sue him for everything he's worth. I would find ways just to destroy his life. And that would be that. But yeah, it's just... Oh my God. It's just... And you wonder why no one trusts cops. But what else is going on in the news? There's something else I wanted to talk about. Let me check my list. I think I hit everything I wanted to talk about in the news. Jimmy Carter, Michelle Obama. Starting over with my workout. Abba preached the OnlyFans model. Okay. But, now as for... Oh, there was one thing I saw. Wasn't in the news. It was on TikTok. I guess there's a group of them where parents whose kids have stopped talking to them. A lot of them I noticed are boomers talking about their Gen X kids and who have stopped talking to them. And I won't lie, I think there's a couple Gen Xers in there who are talking about how their kids stopped talking to them. But I also noticed something else is like a lot of people my age stopped talking to their parents. I'm almost 50, and a lot of us stopped talking to our parents. And I think it's because we got old enough to realize you're an idiot and we don't want anything to do with you. And in some cases, it's both parents, and some it's just one. I stopped talking to my dad. I still talk to my mom. My mom raised me pretty much by herself. My dad was around. The thing is, I remember my dad always being around as a kid. They were just divorced. And I had a great childhood. He was there. He took me fishing. We had fun together. But then I became an adult, and it was like he couldn't handle me being an adult. And he couldn't handle me being my own person and not really needing him the way I did. And I don't think he knew how to process it. And I think my father was undiagnosed autism and ADHD. Because there were things he would do. My father really was smart. I mean, it's possible he was Gia's level smart. I'm not joking. And the problem is he lacked focus. He'd get distracted. He would be over here working on A, and then B would pop up, and he's like working on B. He'd work on B, then he'd be working on Z. Then he'd jump back to G. And it's like, where the hell did G come from? It's like he's in the middle of G. It's like what happened to A? I'll get back to it. He was all over the place. But when he got focused, he could do stuff. But sometimes he would get focused on the wrong thing, and he couldn't let it go. And it's like you're focused on the wrong thing. And that's pretty much where he and I parted ways, because we had 3 arguments. The third one was the last one. And all 3 were his fault. He can spin it however he wants. They were all 3 his fault. Well, he's since passed, but they were all his fault. The first one, he was drunk, and I let it slide. The second one, he was being arrogant and rude and demeaning to me. And I don't take that shit from anyone, including him. And he found that out the hard way. And we didn't get into a fist fight, but I was like, I literally told him, I wish to God you weren't my father. I told him to his face, and I left. And then the third time, it had been a couple years since then. We got back to talking. Everything was good. And we were doing good. And I thought we were on a good place. And then he brought up some stuff. He would keep making little comments. So I started making little comments. And then I stopped doing the comments. I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get away from that. And he decided to go back down that road, started arguing with me, and I kept begging him, just let it go. Like, Dad, please, just let it go. He wouldn't let it go. I walked away, went to my mom's, told her what happened. And I did break down crying because I was so sad. I was like, I thought we were getting past this. The reason I was sad because I knew what I had to do. I didn't want to do it, but I knew what I had to do. And that was to tell him I can't have you in my life no more. I was on my mom's. He called my mom's. And my mom didn't cuss him out, but she was like, I got a son to take care of him, and hung up on him. And I did talk to him. And I told him, Dad, I love you, but I can't have you in my life no more. And I hung up the phone. I didn't even let him do a rebuttal or anything. That's when he called back and got my mom. But I just ended it. That was it. It was a hard decision. It wasn't like I came to it lightly. Because like I said, I had a great childhood with him. It was just when I became an adult, it was like he wanted to compete with me. And I never understood that. That's something that I do things that neither one of my parents really did with me as a kid. And that is make sure my kids understand they can come to me about anything. They can talk to me about anything. And I let my kids know, if it's something major, I do have to tell your mom. I'm not going to keep it from her. And they understand that. I said, and if you feel more comfortable talking to your mom, go talk to your mom. She doesn't have to tell me. And I let my wife know that too. It's like, you don't have to tell me everything they tell you. Unless you feel it's something important that we should both know. I'm going to leave that up to you. And my daughter knows this. And my daughter has gotten to be more comfortable talking to her mother now. Before it wasn't that way. And I like the fact that she's more comfortable talking to her mom because she can talk to her about girl things, which she does. She comes to me for certain things. She goes to mom for certain things. And my son is the same way. He'll talk to me about certain things. I'll go to him about certain things I've noticed that he still is like, hey, son, we need to talk. And I'll let him know. And it's like, I won't tell your mom, but you need to fix X, Y, Z. And he's like, okay. Little things here and there. Because it's like if I know something embarrassing, I'm not going to go, hey, blah, 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 blah. I'll keep it to myself. Now, if it's something we all notice, then it's out there. And there's not much I can do about it. Same with my daughter. If there's something embarrassing that I notice that she needs fixed, I'll let her know. But yeah, it's one of those situations where your kids cut off contact with you for a reason. Like there was a story I heard where the story made it seem like the daughter cut her mom off because she made her daughter clean up after a party that she threw that she wasn't supposed to throw. But in the comments, everyone was thinking what I was thinking. It's like, you're leaving something out. Because it's so weird that one incident made this daughter just hate you and never want to talk to you again. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it's one of those situations where you're kind of like, is that the whole story? It's like, is that really the whole story? And you're just kind of like, I don't think that's the whole story. But based on the information, no, you're not the a-hole. And that's also another reason, to go a little off topic, that's also another reason why I don't want to do just the a-hole stories. For the rest of stuff that just made me think of that. Is because a lot of times in the comments, people will add to the story. They'll read between the lines when there's nothing to read. It's like, why are you adding it? And I notice they do it more with men when they're telling a story than versus women. Like they'll go, oh, you're probably lying. You probably did this, and this. It's like, just because you had a bad relationship doesn't mean he's that guy. He's not the guy you dated. He's telling his side of the story. And you're just adding all this stuff. And there's a lot of podcasters who do it. Like Smosh does it, where whether they know it or not, they do it too. They bash guys on there whenever they tell their story. And there's who was it? What's his name? I can't think of his name. And there's a lot of them that do. I've noticed a lot of them will take the side of the guy. Or take the side of the woman, even when a guy's telling a story. It's like the guy has to write the perfect story in order for people to go on his side. And the woman can write halfway decent story and people will believe it. So there's even double standards in that. in the Reddit stories. So I don't know if more women are into the Reddit stories and that's why it's going like that. But yeah. But as for the parent situation, there's a reason your kids cut you off. And that's, from my own personal experience, that's why I felt like there was more to the story. But I didn't judge the story. I didn't read between the lines. I didn't try to add to it. I just took it at face value and said, well, based on the story, and not the a-hole. But also, yeah. I will give Smosh credit for one thing. Even though they may add on to the story, they do go back based on the story, not the a-hole. They'll do that. They're good at doing that. And there's the other guy who's, I can't think of his name. He's not necessarily as good because I've seen him say the a-hole, but I will say majority of the time he doesn't do that. But I have seen some stories where I'm like, you added on to that. But I still like watching. And any of them, they're all, I'll be honest with you, they're all guilty of it. Hopefully I don't become guilty of it, become a hypocrite. But yeah, I think it's interesting that people my age are cut off their parents. Like, I ran into a guy who I knew my dad, and we were talking, and he's like, oh, it's like, I really don't talk to my dad. He goes, you're like my son. He won't talk to me. I wanted to tell this guy, you ever consider us you? It's you. And he had a wife that was probably my age. So, and a kid with her and stuff. It's like, I don't know if it had anything to do with the wife, but I wanted to be like, it's you. You're the reason your son doesn't talk to you. I guarantee it. Because this guy was just like my dad. So I was like, you're the reason. You're the reason your son doesn't talk to you. I didn't say anything because I was working at the time. But I wanted to be like, it's you. It's all you. Trust me. But after a while, I stopped seeing him, and it was the woman by herself. And I believe she came in. This is when I worked at a bank. And I actually believe she came in and like closed that account out that he was on and opened a new one. So I think that relationship ended, which I'm not surprised. But yeah, and it's just like, I don't know. Sorry, something just popped up on my feed talking about surveillance footage shows suspect who abandoned baby in tote bag outside a Bronx building. I don't get people who do stuff like that. Ugh. I like it when stuff pops up. And then, I guess this is in the... Oh, yeah, I forgot about this. The Washington Commander of Safety, Jeremy Reeves, proposed to girlfriend. Well, needless to say, the racist came out. It's people making racist comments, saying all kinds of stuff. It's like, he proposed to his girlfriend, and your first thought is, let me be racist. It's like, come on, really? You can't not be racist for 2 seconds. Just let them have this moment. But that reminds me of Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man. They made Norman Osborn. Norman Osborn. They made him black. But I do remember people questioning whether Norman was half black sometimes because of the way they drew his hair, his red hair. He had waves. Well, now the waves make sense. And people are... I made a video long before I saw any videos about the racism. I did my video. It was like, can't wait to see the racism on this. And whoo, like the next day there it was. It's like people posting racist remarks and all this stuff. I knew it. Here's my thing when it comes to gender swap and race swap. I'm not a fan of it, mainly because when they do it, they screw it up. They end up going stereotype with the character when they gender swap or race swap. And I hate when they do it. Just swap. If you're going to swap the character, just swap the character. Keep the same energy and just swap the character. And a lot of times it's really unnecessary a lot of times when they do swap characters because they don't do anything with the character. It's like there was no reason to swap it. Here's what I want. I want them to swap the character and do it in the sense that if you're going to rewrite the character as a whole. Make it that it was a woman. Like say if Norman Osborn, I don't know why I keep saying that, is Norman Osborn. Yeah. Oh my God. I couldn't remember his name. Norman Osborn. Let's say Norman was Norma. And I believe in one of the Spider-Mans, it is Norma or something like that. Like they did with Doc Ock in the Spider-Verse. That is a good representation of gender swap. The best way to put it is when they gender swap or race swap, the writing is horrible, in my opinion. I'll say probably about 60 to 70% of the time, the writing is horrible for the character when they gender swap or race swap. It's like the writers forget how to write. It's like, forget that you gender swap the character. Just write the character like you would any other character and just go for it. But that's one of the main reasons I hate gender swaps and race swaps, because the writing is horrible when they do it. Versus if they just wrote for the character and ignore the fact that it's a woman or a man, it would be good. Because my experience when I see shows that gender swap or race swap that did it well is because they ignored the fact that it's now a woman or now it's a man or that it's a different race. They just wrote the character, and next thing you know, did my voice just change? I cleared my throat. I think it changed a little. But they write the character, and next thing you know, sometimes it's a better character. The only thing I hope they didn't do with Norman Osborn, since he's black now, is have him grow up in the ghetto. Because they love doing that. Don't have him still grow up privileged and stuff like that. Don't have him had to struggle as a black man. Just have him be a man who just happens to be black. I'm tired of that story. Don't do that. Stop doing that. Seriously. I don't care if he's black, Asian, whatever. Don't stereotype the character. Leave that out. And just, oh no, hope they don't do that storyline. It's a black character, so you gotta have her run in with the police. Let's not do that. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. Just leave it alone. I haven't read the comic books. I'm not a comic book reader. Like I said, this is one of the reasons why I hate gender swap and race swap. I'll be honest, there is one more reason why I hate it, is because there's so many black characters that they could use, that they could bring in, that they never touch on or use. And they need to start bringing those characters out more. But overall, I'm just thinking about the police situation. Hope they don't do that. I really hope they don't have a run-in with the police because he's black. You know what I mean? It's just, don't do that. Storyline's played out. And don't make it that he grew up in the ghetto. That storyline's old. Stop doing it. And I hope they don't do a racist storyline too. And overall, just don't do it. I've actually seen TikToks of other black people saying we're sick of those storylines. Move on. We've seen them. It's a cliche fallback. It's one of those. I wouldn't say cliche fallback. It's a easy storyline to write, and they go for it. Just because it's easy doesn't mean you should do it. Because it's never done well. It may have been done well in the beginning, but now it's just played out. We're sick of it. Just move on. But overall, I'm still excited to see the Spider-Man. Have there been racists coming out of the woodwork? Yes. I did see a TikTok where a black guy is calling cap on people being racist about it. It was like, when's the last time you heard of the Norman Osborn fan club and all that stuff? You don't see people dressing up like him. Unless it's the Green Goblin. Otherwise, you don't see people dressing up like those characters ever. I don't recall anyone ever dressing up like them, so that's why I call cap on that too. It's fake outrage. Just get over it and move on. But yeah, I hope it's good. Excuse me. When I went to the gym, I won't lie and say I wasn't looking. There was one girl who caught my attention. I wasn't even looking for her. I just happened to get set up, saw her, and it was like, oh. And then I just looked straight ahead in the mirror, and of course, the mirror, even though I'm looking straight in the mirror, I can still see her. I'm like, oh. And then there's a girl over here doing stuff. And it's like, at first she was doing like the hip thrust. You know, you're down on the ground doing the hip thrust. Then she's standing up doing leg lunges with the bench. And lucky enough she wasn't there long enough. But even then, when she was doing those leg lunges at the bench press, I was like, you could have went elsewhere and did that. Freed up the bench press. And earlier, when I was talking about the guy just sitting there on his phone, she was there too. And the guy did shoot daggers at her for a second, but she left. So it was like, I'm already halfway done with my workout, so I'm not going back to do the bench press. But, man. But, overall, it's the end of the year. 2025, people are afraid. I don't blame them. There was one thing I saw. The guy was doing like the Harvard, like they got into a prestigious school, except he was doing it like he got removed from God's Strongest Soldier list, and they were celebrating. He's like, I got removed, yeah. And people were like, how do I get removed? And he's like, stay strong, not everybody can get removed. I went off that damn list too. It's like, geez, I'm not even religious. Take me off the list. Why am I on there? I'm not religious. So yeah. Oh, another thing. Sorry, just something else that caught my attention. Linda Lavin from Alice fame. She passed away. The thing is, I thought she was already dead. I thought she passed away a long time ago. But no, she was still alive. She just recently passed away. I think it was yesterday I saw it, or the day before. So it's like, oh, she just died? I thought she died like a decade ago. Yeah, but she's just been doing Broadway and other things. And I think she started doing a TV show, because now they have to write the character out. But what are you going to do? All right. I'm just thinking, do I need to edit anything out? I didn't cough. I didn't get interrupted. Do I need to edit anything out? This one might be straight through. But I still might keep them short. But I'm not going to worry as much as... I'm not going to worry about posting every Sunday. Because I do want to have more to talk about instead of just rambling on. So I'm going to try to focus on that for the new year for my podcast. So it may be every other Sunday. And I'm going to do the Reddit stuff, keep posting for that. Maybe I'll include, if I find enough Reddit stories, maybe I can include it in the podcast. But otherwise, in the new year, starting tomorrow actually, I'm going to go find all those animations that I started and finish them. That's going to be my mission for the new year, is just finish all the animations I started. And I got a lot I started and didn't finish. So in that aspect, I'm a lot like my dad. No focus. I always joke, if I ever got focus, this world would burn. So get ready to burn. But otherwise, everyone take care. Happy New Year. I hope 2025 is starting out good for you. If not, I hope it gets better for you. Everyone take care, and I'll see you later in 2025. Later.